All right, back with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. He's running for president of the United States, and there is another clear distinction he has with his two primary opponents in that race, Donald Trump and his legal problems. Of course, Donald Trump has now officially become a convicted felon. Many people in his camp say that's unfair, and it's very likely very soon that Hunter Biden could carry that same label. Not exactly good timing for his father around the time of the big debate that so far Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has not been invited to. Back with us. So, Robert, what do you think of that? That you're looking at a guy in Donald Trump who is running and leading in the polls as a convicted felon, doesn't seem to make a big difference to a lot of people. The same could be that Joe Biden's support doesn't wane, at least among his core group, whether his son becomes a convicted felon or not. What do you make of all of that?
Like I said earlier, Neil, I try to avoid these issues. I think one of the things that we worry about is the weaponization of the judicial system, and it seems like the Democrats feel like they don't have a candidate who can win the election, and so they have to win it in a court. And this case, I think, of the three cases brought against him, was the weakest case, and appears from its history that it was earlier rejected by prosecutors, and it seemed to have been revived for political reasons. Now, let me say one thing. President Trump was doing the same thing. When President Trump was running, he was demanding that Hillary should be locked up, and he was, promising to appoint a special prosecutor. I think either side is bad. I don't think, it's like a banana republic in our country. We don't want that reputation. People are going to be derailed from seeking political office because of, by using the courts. And I think the DNC, by promoting these kind of cases, is really doing itself and the American public a disfavor. President Trump raised $200 million within 2 days of this because there is anxiety and outrage among the American people. And I would say this, if the Democrats won this way, they would leave half the country desperately embittered and angry, and ultimately we're going to become ungovernable. Is this the trajectory that we want to start on? Or are we going to do what democracy says, which is even people with all their flaws and all of their warts, people ought to still be able to vote for who they want without interference from the courts.
Well, you talk about retribution and the appetite for that. Wouldn't Donald Trump have that? And maybe to hear some of the supporters, rightly so, because he has been maligned and targeted and piled on, and that if he gets back in the White House, he'll start dishing it out.
Yeah, and that's the problem with this. It's going to be tit for tat, and the Democrats now control these Democratic prosecutors are now going after President Biden. They set a terrible, terrible precedent, and you get somebody in office like President Trump who is not embarrassed about his impulse for revenge. Then, you've set this terrible precedent, and our country's going down a very, very, I think, dark road if we start, conducting elections in the courts. Well,